I welcome you to our panel about marketing and media in the cannabis industry. And I'm really proud to present or to say hello to three experts on cannabis marketing from different countries. Let's start with Petra Marinico. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm never so sure about the pronunciation.
Correct.
Thank you very much. And Petra is founder and owner of Cannabis. And please tell us, what are you doing, or what are you producing, and what's your product in Slovenia?
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here. We do cosmetics. We do food supplements with CBD, without CBD. We use full spectrum, broad spectrum, and we have a lot of problems doing the marketing the right way. We chose a clean path to do it. We use only clean ingredients with no pesticides, no phenoxyethanol, nothing on the dirty list. And since we're doing this with CBD, we have a lot of problems with this. So it's great to be here and talk about this a bit more with other experts. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. To my right, we have Mike Weiss. Mike is a filmmaker, public speaker, a gonzo journalist, a medicine man, as it said in the description. But I also know Mike owns a CBD company and is selling CBD all over the world. Mike, tell us about your company and your activities, please.
Yeah, as you can see, I got the shirt on today, OG Labs Genetics, Know Your Roots. Kind of know what you're putting in your medicine, like Petra was saying, is a big part of what we do. With my company, I like to say we're activist-driven company, so we focus on the activism side. A lot of companies, pretty much all the companies, don't sell THC. Sure, some sell full-spectrum CBD oils. My company, we sell high THC oil, 90, 80% oil. We don't care about laws. We do this for the patients. So if people are sick and dying, we don't wait and say, hey, wait for the laws to change. Then we'll give you some medicine that will work for you. We give them something now. So that's what we do.
Thank you very much. To my left hand, I can say hello to Yuri Butina. Yuri is the CEO of Snell Custom Rolling Papers. I think most people sitting here know Snell Custom Rolling Papers. Please tell me about your company and your activities in Slovenia.
Hello, everybody. We are making rolling papers, as Michael explained, and we are kind of a dinosaur in this industry because producing rolling papers has been for over 100 years, and everything here is very new, less than 10 years old. So, and we are getting banned from all sides. So we are getting banned from the smoking side, and we are getting banned from the cannabis side. So we cannot promote ourselves anyway, almost. As many of you know, now the plain tobacco packaging is arriving, and some countries consider rolling papers to be tobacco accessory, and so we are getting afraid that the possibility of putting a design on rolling papers will not be possible in the future. So some countries already introduced it, and there is no possibility that rolling paper booklet can have a design on it. So we are also struggling a little bit, and as you know, the ways of consumption of cannabis also are changing. So you have now edibles, you have vapes, you have drinks, you have everything. So we are okay, but new things are coming.
Thank you very much, Juri. And as you can see, cannabis marketing differs from other marketing strategies. The reason is the product is illegal in a lot of countries. It's connected to smoking. In Germany or in other countries where medical cannabis is at least legal, but you are not allowed to advertise for your product because as a pharmaceutical in the whole EU, you're not allowed to do normal advertising for your product. And CBD in many countries is still considered as a part of the cannabis plant and also illegal. And I think Marina can tell us something about that, because cannabis CBD marketing in Slovenia is not so easy, is it?
No, you cannot. It's not allowed to do any marketing whatsoever, because we cannot claim anything. If you have written CBD on social media, you get banned, and everything else. So we tried to do it a bit differently. We did it through unique design and tried to stand out with something that is different on the shelf. So if someone goes to, we are selling in DM Drogerie Markt stores in Slovenia in 95 shops. So if someone goes to Drogerie Markt, they surely notice us because we differ. And a lot of people don't know much about CBD. I think that's the problem also, another one. So it takes a lot of education to tell people what this does, and this is really hard because you cannot make any claims. We try to do it with different ingredients we put inside. So, for example, we have a magnesium lotion with CBD, which relaxes you. And CBD, we cannot claim that CBD does that, but we can claim for magnesium to do that. So there are certain ways to do it if you want anything right, but still not online. If you go online, you need an expert like Michael. But otherwise, we do it through interviews in the magazines, through educational process, and so on.
But I also can say, as an influencer, I myself, I'm also quite experienced. Also, with my YouTube channel since long years, I'm on Instagram. I'm quite experienced in marketing of cannabis products, and I must admit it's not easy even for people who are experienced with social media. The topic cannabis, it is not easy, and it's not only recreational cannabis, also the topic medical cannabis and CBD is not easy for influencers. A lot of people who are also very experienced are surprised because all the social media, they change rules I feel like every second month. Mike, my question to you. You know both markets, you know the US market, you know the European market, and as we talked before, you use influencer, you use marketing tools in the social media. Tell us about that, please.
Sure. Just like you're saying, is that even being an expert in the field, it's really hard because you never know what's going to happen. I have a page on Facebook where is kind of where I do most of my activism, called The Mike Wise Show. This page got shut down. I mean, pretty much for an entire year, my reach was restricted. And so a lot of people will talk about being shadow banned, but I actually had messages from Facebook saying my reach is restricted. I would make a post and it would get maybe 10 or 20 likes when normally I make a post and it gets 1,000 shares. So it was quite a difference. As of 2 months ago, they lifted the ban. So I put several videos that have gotten millions of views since that time. So I'm happy that the restrictions have been lifted. But it is tough. In the USA, you can definitely get away with a lot more. There isn't as many restrictions on marketing. Online, they always crack down. There's no way to know if or when. So it's just about being careful about what you put. A lot of what I do is not direct advertising. It's kind of sharing stories and testimonials of people who are healing from cannabis. So they'll say, oh, well, I used cannabis and it helped me. And so people like this type of content. I think it's kind of fresh. Not a lot of people do this. So that's kind of how I help to get the message out there, is to just have people tell you firsthand from their experience their uses with the plant, instead of me interjecting, oh yes, cannabis is good and it can do this. I'm not making the claims, they are. So here it seems to be successful to do kind of similar strategies as well. but yeah.
Yeah, it's still, I can agree, it's still, you do not know the rules, so you kind of have to test it out, you have to try something out, and sometimes it works and sometimes it's banned. Yeah, because it's not, in my eyes, it's not so heavy or so, it's not too, you have the ideas. The ideas, they are not so hard to get. But it's really hard to realize them without being banned. Yeah, because you always have you must not name what you actually want to say. That's the trick. Jury, let me ask you, please. As a tobacco and cannabis-related product, you have I think you also have a lot of problems on social media, so you have to focus on the design. How important is the design for your product, for a product to be marketed?
Tell me once again.
How important is the design of your specific product? We're talking about papers for your marketing.
Well, of course, the design is very important, and it's the only thing we can do. Actually, we can take a picture of a rolling paper booklet and show it, but we are a business-to-business company, so we are not building our brand so much because we are producing for other brands. We are like a B2B company, and it's also difficult to promote ourselves on social media and on everything else because everything is more B2C, not so much B2B. So in the past, because as I told you, we are in this industry for 20 years already, we were visiting all the trade shows. We use like some traditional marketing approaches. We call clients, we meet with them, so we don't do so much social media also, although we have to do it. And as I explained, on social media we are putting some pictures of booklets and things. Yeah.
As I remember, your product was the first with those folded inlays and stuff like this. You know what I mean? Your product was the first. Yeah, with the filters, and so how important was that to make your product successful? Because I know the Snell papers, and I was really, when I first held them in my hand, I was thinking, oh, somebody thought about rolling papers. So
yeah, well, we had some innovations. That's correct. It is strange, but rolling papers with tips are not so old thing. You know, some people still come and don't know what this is and are amazed, and so this is not so old. And we had quite a good success with some of our models. So making well. If you are a company, you always have to do something new. So either it is a new design, or either it is a new model, or it has to be something new. So you have to develop during your existence to be successful.
Thank you very much. That's logical. Petra, your product range is quite big.
Yeah.
You told me you are not allowed to publish on Facebook, to do marketing on Facebook. Slovenia is quite a small country, so you also depend on the export. So is there anything but print advertisement that can be successful for you? And if, how successful can print advertisement be?
Well, print advertising, I think it went down with social media and everything. We try to do different ways, still want to stay legal because it's really important for us to stay on the track that's allowed. That is also our priority. But for example, we did a Nabi CBD shop in the center of Ljubljana, also for marketing reasons. Because if I go and book a banner somewhere on I don't know where, it costs really a lot of money. So if we have a shop which is stable and still there and people go by there every day, we have it in a really good central district.
So it's kind of a small flagship store.
Yeah, it's a flagship store. So they see the brand, they go there, buy that every day. And I think this is one of the ways to go there. And people come in, and we had a really good results before Corona with the CBD shop. That's one of the ways to go to the customers. Of course, it's a really hard time to do it with exporting with Corona and quarantine and staying at home, but we try to be on this kind of events to let the world see what we have. So that's one of the ways to do the marketing. So, yeah.
This question goes actually out to all three panelists, and anybody who wants to answer can decide. How important is your own homepage?
So, sorry?
Your own URL. How important is your own homepage for marketing?
Homepage? Webpage?
Yeah, webpage.
I think it is very important. Because people go there to find information, and we put really strict information. We learned from, we were doing this for 3 years, but we've learned a lot, and we are really selective what we put on our webpage to get them see what we have. So it's hard with CBD and everything and all the restrictions, but still people can get all the information there. So I think that's really important to do really nice webpage, have information there for them to see and to look up for you.
Yeah, I'd agree on that.
And complete social media profile, you know, it's everything is approach that you have. It may differ from one to another. Specifically, I probably think that we are in a different branches, but approach that you choose has to be different because there's so many things online that you need something to stand out.
Mike, you don't have a physical store. You concentrate on online marketing or online.
I focus online.
And when we talked before the panel, you told me you have a very special strategy, and you're connecting CBD and sports. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm actually an athlete myself. I'm currently number 6 in the world for a sport called wake skating. It's very similar to wakeboarding, but you're not strapped into the board, so you can spin the board underneath you and flip it around when you're riding on top of the water. And I was a big skateboarder for a long time. And so I was explaining this to someone else at this conference earlier, and they said, oh, so you're like the Red Bull of CBD, is kind of how I put it. And it's cheesy, but I think it is a kind of a good description of what we're doing. I decided to start sponsoring athletes because, like I mentioned earlier, oh no, that was with you guys, but CBD wasn't really my passion. Kind of THC was my passion. But trying to get into the legal part is when I was able to do more with CBD because I can do that legally. So I decided to sponsor a bunch of athletes who are professionals all across the spectrum, from surfing, skateboarding, wakeboarding, of course, snowboarding, BMX, motocross. Some of these people rode in the Olympics, and so there's other companies that might have sponsored 4 or 5 people, but we really have 35 different athletes, and mainly I focused with sponsoring some of the best riders in Europe because since I'm located here now, that's kind of where my focus is. I do business to customer and not business to business. So when I did this, it was really kind of it really helped to expand because it's kind of like I have a bunch of mini influencers, if you will, underneath me promoting for my brand because I actually focus on Instagram mainly by launching OG Labs. I focus mainly by doing Instagram stuff. So I have a bunch of athletes on there who share posts about when they get products or when they're using them, how it helps them recover from training or sports injuries. And so they each spread the message, and they have a lot of people following them. So it's been a really successful kind of strategy that, I didn't do it really for the business purposes as much as I want to really support other riders because there's tremendous benefits that can be found by using cannabis for athletes. So it was kind of a nice thing that developed that I also helped my business grow by doing this.
Let me please ask you an additional question because you're from the US, and I think in the US this strategy is already quite common. It's well known. would you say it's already this kind of strategy is widespread in Europe already, or are you kind of is it so far kind of unique?
It's unique for Europe. I was fortunate to be positioned to, at the time I was, to be able to get so many writers because there isn't other companies doing this. In the U.S., there is companies, like you said, but they really only do like 6 or 8 athletes. You know, there's not, and to me, it's kind of like, oh, we just got these guys, you know, because to show that our company's good. They're not really out to support athletes. So I think that's kind of why I've gotten so many athletes, and so many athletes have gravitated towards working with us, is because they realize, hey, I'm a writer too. He wants to hook up people. You know, our prices are affordable for athletes to purchase. You know, so I don't know.
You have to be authentic.
Yeah, and that's what I guess I do, is less marketing and just kind of like being who I am and who we are. And I'm the company. I don't have employees. So like OG Labs is just me. So.
Jory, you're doing kind of a different approach. You also do a lot of white label products. Snell does a lot of white labeling. In how far can this help in a special branch where you are really you cannot advertise freely like in your branch? You cannot like do free marketing because it's all limited. What does white labeling? Tell me about the advantages of white labeling products.
Well, we do more or less only white labeling. So what our brand is, the products, the final products of our brand, this is a very small portion of it. So 95% of our business is white labeling. And we do all kinds of stuff, you know. As I explained, the promotion of business to business, it's not so easy as business to see because you don't have such a big palette of media. So before you mentioned a web page of course has to be very well built because you need to build a confidence with your client because you have a shitty web page, you know. They say this is not a good company. We cannot use, we were using because a lot of magazines emerged in a certain period. You had one as well. And the printed advertising was very popular. And because we are rolling papers and magazines go kind of together, you know, we were doing rolling papers for magazines. And we got an ad in them. But when we checked what the result of the ad was, basically it was very bad. You know, I read a statistic once. This is from another type of marketing. I read a statistic that there is a twice bigger possibility that you get hit by lightning than click a banner ad. So.
Yeah, you know what the nice thing is about marketing today in my eyes? In former days it was, like Henry Ford said, you always waste 50% of your marketing budget, you never know which 50% you wasted. Today you at least know, if you're a little smart, which 50% you wasted because you can track it. Today. And now comes my next question. You mentioned B2B. That's a totally different marketing strategy in a B2B business, and you also do B2B. So how does your marketing strategy differ when it comes to B2B from your B2C strategy?
It's a completely different thing. With B2C, you have to be, it's really important how you look on the shelf, how the customer, if you sell online, what's the unpacking experience is important. If you sell on, I don't know, grocery store, it's important where you're placed on the shelf and stuff like that. If you do business-to-business marketing, it's pretty much different because you need to persuade somehow the business partner that you differ from others. And we choose the approach that we offer them complete every step of the way. So complete service. Complete service, yeah, thank you for helping. usually in cannabis business in Europe, we see really similar products in different packaging. That's one way to do private labeling and everything. But we choose the approach to offer our customers, business B2B customers, also the different packaging and options. You know, I think it's really important that someone stands out in his own way, not only to stand out with his logo and have a green leaf and something on it. It's important that it's important to stand out in a way that you get noticed, and you can get noticed with great packaging. You can get noticed with great design, and we try to offer that to the other companies, because we didn't see that on the market.
So you kind of also consult your B2B customers and help them labeling, help them develop, but you also, if you don't agree, you also let the customer do his own stuff for sure. My next question goes out to Mike. You're not doing so much B2B business, I think. But you're selling internationally.
Yes.
So what about regulations? Because I know you're doing business all over the world and in many different countries, and don't you have any problems with the different national regulations?
It's pretty funny you mentioned that, actually. I do want to go into B2B this year, maybe. So we'll look at that. But the reason that I started doing international, and really why I made OG Labs and everything, was because I'm in it for the patients, and I'm a cannabis patient. And so I learned about how great of medical benefits come with making some really high-potent THC oil. For myself, I had Crohn's disease, and so after I took a certain amount of this oil, I don't suffer from the symptoms anymore. And so I told this on my social media, and then this is where it kind of spread like wildfire. Everyone was messaging me saying, hey, I need oil for my mom or my daughter or my sister or my cousin. They're dying. They have 2 weeks to live. The doctor gave up on them. There's nothing else he can do. He said, go home and die. Well, this was in 2014, and these people are still alive today. So that was kind of what fueled international shipping for me, and I try to do it as much as I can with some of my products that aren't high THC oil. But like the high THC oil goes to every country no matter what, for the sole reason, the only reason is because I get a message and someone says, I'm dying and can you help me? And so this kind of being the person I am, I cannot tell this person no. So even if they're in some extreme place, in Asia or something where the laws are extremely harsh, I still do everything I can to package the product discreetly or in a way where it can get to them so that they can actually use it and recover from some of these serious diseases that the doctors can't help them with. And so it's a little bit harder with the CBD stuff because of the labeling and the packaging and the design. It's not easy to make that discreet. So some of these products I don't ship internationally. I want to, but they just get stopped by customs. And this has happened
But you tried.
It's happened before, and no one's gotten in trouble, but customs does stop the package or take it.
Did they sue you for anything like that so far?
Not yet.
I think we are close to the end, but I want to know one thing from Yuri still, because when you came into the market, Slovenia is not a traditional rolling papers country, especially not for king size. Then we had other players in Spain and in France, which were a long time before your company on the market. But your company, I see it in every grow shop, I see it on in every cigarette shop. So you made a good job. How did you manage to to be a competitor for those big paper companies?
It may sound funny, but we attended all the cannabis shows. Well, this industry changed a lot, from 4 big players. I will not mention them. In the past, there were only 4 big players producing rolling papers. you could get a lighter printed in every bar or everywhere. Meanwhile, you could not get a rolling paper with the label. When we started, when we didn't have such big possibilities of production, we want to make a private label with one of the big companies, and the MOQ was 300,000. The big companies, when they use the machine, they melt it. So nobody else could use it. So the machines were not for sale because they were destroyed after usage. And 15 years, something like that, companies which were producing machinery emerged, and it was possible to buy an automatic packing machine, which then caused this industry to spread. And I think also there is a cultural movement maybe that companies and even people want to personalize things. So it's a current state of mind that you want to personalize, you want to have your own. And so one thing is that we were rolling paper company, which was oriented towards a cannabis smoker, because traditional rolling paper companies are not oriented toward cannabis smoker. They are actually ashamed if someone would be connecting them with cannabis. And the second thing is that this difference in people's heads and the possibility that they could make it caused this growth of our business.
Yeah, you really did an amazing job for a company that was quite new in the market within the last 15 years, I say.
Well, just to comment your thing about Slovenia not being a rolling paper country, we have we have 2 producers in Slovenia. Meanwhile, we are bordering with Italy, Hungary, Austria, Croatia, which none of them has producers of private label rolling papers. I think Germany doesn't have it, France doesn't have it. So, and we have 2. So we are a rolling paper country.
And as you mentioned in the beginning, we never talked about the panel is finished soon, but during the whole panel, we never talked about the marketing tool, cannabis shows and cannabis congresses. And we also should not forget about that, even especially here, B2B people. This is, I think, for everybody, for anybody who's here, cannabis shows and cannabis congresses are one of the greatest opportunities for B2C and for B2B business. Wouldn't you agree? That's my last question to our panelists.
Yeah, I think this is the best way to stand out, to show, and to be seen. And if people see you, they can see what you have. So if you do your other marketing well, then you stand out. And I think that's the main thing everybody wants. And the personalization that Yuri said, I think this is the key ingredient to go in future marketing.
And I think we all experienced how bad it is if you can't meet in the last 18 months.
Yeah, we did 15 expos in 2019. So it's awesome, and like you said, it's a great place to meet people, get your brand out, give out free products, and get the word out.
And I still see your brand on every fair.
Well, true, yeah. Well, in the beginning, we were like, the Ski World Cup or some similar competition. The group of people were just moving from one place to another. It was very small. We all knew each other. And now, as I said, the industry is getting bigger and bigger. And also some serious people are now in it.
Thanks a lot, Yuri. I think we come to an end very soon.
We have come to an end.
Yeah,
right now. We're actually running a little late. Let's hear it again for Mika Knotz and all the panelists, Petra, Mike, Yuri.